Chapter 8: The Battle for the Galaxy. The Galactic Defense Coalition's fleet, a formidable armada representing the combined might of numerous civilizations, hovered on the outskirts of the star system housing the mysterious organization's base. The planet below, a seemingly ordinary world from a distance, was in fact a fortress bristling with advanced defenses. The energy shield surrounding it shimmered with an otherworldly glow, a clear indication of the power that lay within. Jake stood on the bridge of the Earth-based ship, his face set with determination. The weight of the mission bore down on him, but he was resolute. "All ships, report in. Ensure all systems are at optimal levels," he commanded, his voice echoing through the communication channels. One by one, the ships of the Coalition confirmed their readiness. Dr. Carter, her eyes scanning the sensor readouts, said, "The shield is incredibly strong. We'll need to coordinate our attacks precisely to break through it." Dr. Harris, busy with the ship's weapon systems, added, "Our long-range weapons are primed. But we'll need to get closer for the more powerful ones to have an effect. We should start with a barrage of long-range missiles to test the shield's integrity." Jake nodded and gave the order. The Coalition ships launched a volley of long-range missiles towards the planet's shield. The missiles streaked through space, leaving trails of light behind them. When they hit the shield, a series of brilliant explosions erupted, lighting up the space around the planet. However, the shield held firm. Dr. Carter analyzed the data. "The shield is designed to absorb and disperse energy. We need to find a way to overload it. Maybe we can use a combination of different energy frequencies." Jake relayed the idea to the other ships. The Coalition's scientists and technicians quickly got to work, adjusting their weapons to emit a variety of energy frequencies. After a few minutes of preparation, they launched a second wave of attacks. This time, the combined energy from the weapons hit the shield in a more chaotic but potentially more effective way. The shield flickered and wavered under the onslaught. Jake watched intently as the shield's integrity seemed to be weakening. Suddenly, a large group of enemy ships emerged from behind the planet. They were sleek and menacing, their hulls glinting in the starlight. The enemy ships opened fire on the Coalition fleet, sending a hail of energy bolts and projectiles towards them. Jake shouted, "Evasive maneuvers! Return fire!" The Coalition ships scattered, their pilots expertly dodging the incoming attacks. They returned fire with a vengeance, their weapons lighting up the space between the two fleets. The battle was fierce. The enemy ships were well armed and highly maneuverable. One of the enemy ships managed to target a Coalition ship from a smaller civilization. The energy blast from the enemy ship tore through the Coalition ship's shield and hit its hull, causing a large explosion. Jake's heart sank at the sight of the damaged ship. "We can't let them get away with this. Concentrate fire on those enemy ships. We need to clear a path to the shield." The Coalition ships focused their fire on the enemy vessels. Lasers, energy beams, and missiles rained down on the enemy fleet. The battle became a swirling maelstrom of destruction, with ships on both sides taking hits. Dr. Harris noticed something on the sensors. "Jake, the shield is still weakening from our earlier attacks. If we can just keep the enemy ships at bay for a few more minutes, we might be able to break through." Jake nodded and issued new orders. The coalition ships redoubled their efforts, using a combination of offensive and defensive maneuvers. Some ships used their energy shields to deflect the enemy fire towards other enemy ships, while others launched counter-attacks. After an intense few minutes of battle, the enemy ships were pushed back. The coalition ships then turned their attention back to the shield. They launched a final, coordinated attack, using all their remaining power. The shield finally gave way, shattering in a brilliant display of energy. Jake shouted, "We did it! Move in towards the planet." The coalition fleet descended towards the planet. As they got closer, they could see the organization's base, a sprawling complex of buildings and installations. The base was heavily fortified with anti-spacecraft weapons. The coalition ships started to engage the ground-based defenses. They used their long-range weapons to target the weapon emplacements. But the enemy was not going to give up easily. The ground-based defenses returned fire, sending up a storm of energy towards the coalition ships. Jake knew that they needed to land troops on the planet to completely neutralize the threat. "Prepare the landing pods. We're going in." The coalition ships deployed a large number of landing pods. Jake, Dr. Carter, and a group of elite soldiers from Earth and other civilizations boarded the landing pods. As the pods descended through the planet's atmosphere, they were buffeted by anti-landing fire. One of the landing pods was hit and exploded mid-air. Jake watched in horror as the pod disappeared in a ball of fire. But the others continued their descent. When the landing pods reached the ground, the troops quickly disembarked. They found themselves in the middle of a battlefield. The enemy soldiers, a strange mix of different alien species, charged at them. Jake drew his weapon. "Stay together. We need to fight our way to the main building. That's where the heart of their operations is likely to be." The coalition troops formed a tight formation and started to advance. The battle on the ground was intense, with both sides suffering casualties. Dr. Carter, using a small, energy-based weapon, managed to take down several enemy soldiers. As they got closer to the main building, they encountered more powerful defenses. There were large, robotic sentinels guarding the entrance. The sentinels were armed with powerful lasers and energy cannons. Jake shouted, "We need to find a way to disable those sentinels. They're too powerful to face head-on." Just then, a group of rebels from one of the coalition civilizations arrived. They had brought with them a device that could disrupt the Sentinels' power systems. The rebels quickly deployed the device, and the Sentinels' weapons powered down. The coalition troops rushed forward and entered the main building. Inside, they found a maze of corridors and rooms filled with advanced technology. They encountered more enemy soldiers, but they were able to fight their way through. Jake, Dr. Carter, and the troops finally reached a large, central chamber. In the middle of the chamber was a large, glowing console. A group of high-ranking enemy officers was gathered around it. One of the officers, a tall, imposing figure with glowing red eyes, stepped forward. "You think you can stop us? You're too late. Our plans are already in motion." Jake stepped forward. "Your reign of terror ends here. Whatever you're planning, we're going to stop you." The enemy officers and the coalition troops faced off. A tense moment of silence filled the chamber. Then, the enemy officers launched an attack. The battle in the chamber was fierce, with both sides using their weapons in hand-to-hand combat skills. Jake fought bravely, taking on several enemy officers at once. Dr. Carter, meanwhile, managed to make her way towards the console. She knew that she needed to disable whatever was being activated on it. As the battle raged on, Dr. Carter studied the console. It was a complex piece of machinery, with strange symbols and controls. But she had studied enough alien technology to understand its basic functions. She started to press a series of buttons, trying to figure out the correct sequence to stop the organization's plans. Suddenly, one of the enemy officers broke away from the fight and lunged at her. Jake saw the officer approaching Dr. Carter. He quickly disengaged from his opponents and ran towards her. He managed to intercept the officer, engaging him in a fierce hand-to-hand combat. With Jake distracting the officer, Dr. Carter was able to continue working on the console. After a few more tense moments, she found the right sequence of buttons. The console let out a series of beeps, and the lights on it started to dim. The enemy officers, realizing that their plans were being foiled, redoubled their efforts to stop the coalition troops. But it was too late. The coalition troops, now with the upper hand, managed to defeat the remaining enemy officers. Jake looked at Dr. Carter. "Did you do it? Did you stop their plans?" Dr. Carter nodded. "I think so. But we need to make sure. We should search the rest of the base to make sure there are no other hidden operations." The coalition troops started to search the base. They found and disabled several other devices that were part of the organization's plans. They also rescued a group of prisoners who had been held captive by the organization. With the base under control, the coalition troops reported back to the ships in orbit. The news of the victory spread through the coalition fleet, and there was a sense of relief and celebration. Jake, Dr. Carter, and the other coalition members on the ground started to make their way back to the landing pods. As they left the base, Jake looked back at the now defeated enemy complex. "This was a hard-fought victory," he said. "But we've shown that the Galactic Defense Coalition is a force to be reckoned with." We've protected the galaxy from a major threat. Dr. Carter smiled. Yes, we have. But there will always be new challenges. We need to stay vigilant and continue to work together. The coalition troops boarded the landing pods and returned to the ships in orbit. The fleet then prepared to leave the star system. As they flew away, Jake, Dr. Carter, and Dr. Harris looked back at the planet. They knew that their efforts had made a difference, and they were proud to be part of the Galactic Defense Coalition. Back on Earth, the news of the victory was met with widespread celebration. The people of Earth had seen the power of the coalition and were more confident than ever in humanity's place in the galaxy. Jake, Dr. Carter, and Dr. Harris became even more renowned. They were invited to speak at events across the galaxy, sharing their experiences and promoting the importance of the Galactic Defense Coalition. As time passed, the coalition continued to grow stronger. New civilizations joined, and the exchange of knowledge and technology increased. Jake, Dr. Carter, and Dr. Harris remained actively involved in the coalition's activities, always ready to face new threats and explore new frontiers in the vast expanse of the galaxy. The battle for the galaxy might have been won this time, but they knew that there was always more work to be done to ensure peace and prosperity for all civilizations. Chapter 9: The New Era of Galactic Cooperation. In the aftermath of the decisive victory over the mysterious organization, the galaxy entered a new era of peace and cooperation. The Galactic Defense Coalition, having proven its mettle in the face of a significant threat, became a symbol of hope and unity among the countless civilizations scattered across the stars. Jake, Dr. Carter, and Dr. Harris found themselves at the center of this new-found harmony, their names revered throughout the coalition. Back on Earth, the celebrations continued for weeks. The once ordinary town where Jake had lived was now a hub of intergalactic activity. Schools taught about the adventures of Jake and his team, inspiring a new generation of young people to look to the stars with hope and determination. Jake, Dr. Carter, and Dr. Harris were frequently called upon to share their experiences at intergalactic conferences. Jake, now a respected ambassador for Earth, stood on the stage of a grand auditorium filled with representatives from various civilizations. Our victory was not just about defeating an enemy, Jake said, his voice carrying through the large hall. It was about coming together as a community, sharing our knowledge, and using our combined strengths to protect what's important. The Galactic Defense Coalition is more than just a military alliance, it's a family of civilizations working towards a common goal. Dr. Carter, who had become a leading expert on alien technology, was often invited to participate in research projects across the galaxy. She was currently working with a team of scientists from different civilizations on a project to develop a universal energy source. This energy source could revolutionize the way we live, Dr. Carter explained to her team. By combining the principles of different energy generation methods from various civilizations, we could create a clean, efficient, and limitless power supply for the entire galaxy. Dr. Harris, meanwhile, was deeply involved in enhancing the early, warning system of the Coalition. He had traveled to a distant planet to oversee the installation of a new type of sensor. These sensors are based on a new understanding of energy signatures, Dr. Harris told the local technicians. They'll be able to detect even the slightest signs of potential threats from light years away, giving us more time to prepare and respond. The Galactic Education Program, which had been in its infancy during the early days of the Coalition, was now thriving. Students from Earth were studying on alien planets, learning about different cultures, technologies, and ways of life. Similarly, alien students were arriving on Earth, fascinated by the unique aspects of human civilization. One such Earth-bound alien student was Zara, a young being from a planet with a high-tech, nature-centric civilization. She was studying at a university in Jake's hometown, majoring in human history and culture. I've always been fascinated by the resilience of humans, Zara said in an interview. Despite facing so many challenges, you've managed to not only survive but also thrive. I hope to take what I learn here back to my planet and share it with my people. As the Coalition grew, so did the need for a more formalized structure. A Galactic Council was established, with representatives from each member civilization. Jake was elected as one of Earth's representatives on the council. At the first council meeting, Jake addressed the members. We've achieved a great deal, but we can't rest on our laurels. There are still many challenges ahead, from potential new threats to the need for sustainable development across the galaxy. We need to work together to ensure that the peace we've fought for endures. The Council began to discuss various issues, from resource management to cultural preservation. One of the most pressing issues was the need to prevent the exploitation of less developed civilizations. A representative from a small, resource-rich planet spoke up. Our planet has been targeted by unscrupulous groups in the past. We need the Coalition's help to protect our resources and ensure that they are used for the betterment of all, not just a few. The Council decided to create a task force dedicated to monitoring and preventing the exploitation of vulnerable civilizations. Jake volunteered to be part of this task force, along with representatives from other civilizations. The task force immediately got to work. They traveled to different planets, assessing the situations and implementing protective measures. Jake and his team visited a planet where a large-scale mining operation was threatening the local ecosystem and the way of life of the indigenous people. Jake met with the leaders of the planet and the mining company. This operation is not only harming the environment but also the people who live here. We need to find a sustainable solution that benefits everyone. After days of negotiations, they managed to come up with a plan. The mining company agreed to adopt more environmentally friendly practices and to share a significant portion of the profits with the local community. In return, the local government agreed to provide the necessary infrastructure and support for the mining operation. As Jake and his team continued their work, they realized that there were still pockets of resistance within the galaxy. Some groups, either out of greed or a desire for power, were opposed to the idea of a unified and cooperative galaxy. One such group, calling themselves the Galactic Separatists, began to spread propaganda against the Galactic Defense Coalition. They claimed that the coalition was a tool of the more powerful civilizations to control the weaker ones. Jake, Dr. Carter, and Dr. Harris, along with the rest of the coalition, knew that they had to address this threat. They launched a public awareness campaign, traveling to different planets to explain the true nature and goals of the coalition. Jake addressed a large gathering on a planet where the Separatists' influence was growing. The Galactic Defense Coalition is about equality, cooperation, and mutual benefit. We've seen what happens when we fight alone. By working together, we can create a galaxy where all civilizations can thrive, regardless of their size or power. Dr. Carter, using holographic displays, showed the audience the benefits of the coalition, from the sharing of technology that had improved living standards on many planets to the protection it had provided against common threats. Dr. Harris presented the scientific achievements of the coalition, such as the development of new medical treatments and the improvement of communication systems across the galaxy. Slowly but surely, the tide began to turn. The people on the planet started to see the truth about the coalition, and the influence of the separatists waned. However, the coalition knew that they couldn't be complacent. They continued to strengthen their bonds, develop new technologies, and promote peace and cooperation. Jake, Dr. Carter, and Dr. Harris were constantly on the move, traveling to different parts of the galaxy to support various coalition initiatives. Whether it was helping a civilization rebuild after a natural disaster, sharing Earth's agricultural knowledge with planets facing food shortages, or contributing to the development of new defense technologies, they were always at the forefront. One day, Jake received a message from Czar, who had become a close friend and ally. Czar informed him that a new scientific discovery had been made on a distant planet. A group of scientists had found a way to create a stable wormhole, a tunnel through space, time that could potentially revolutionize intergalactic travel. Jake, Dr. Carter, and Dr. Harris immediately made their way to the planet to learn more about this discovery. When they arrived, they were greeted by the excited scientists. "This could change everything," one of the scientists said. "With stable wormholes, we could travel to distant parts of the galaxy in a fraction of the time it currently takes. It would open up new opportunities for trade, cultural exchange, and scientific research." The three of them were immediately intrigued. They started to study the data and plans for the wormhole technology. Dr. Harris, with his background in physics and engineering, was particularly excited. "This is a game changer," Dr. Harris said. "But we need to be careful. Wormholes are a complex and potentially dangerous technology. We need to ensure that they are used safely and responsibly." Jake nodded. "We should present this to the Galactic Council. They can help us develop the necessary regulations and guidelines for the use of this technology." Dr. Carter added, "And we need to make sure that all civilizations in the coalition have equal access to this technology." It could be a powerful tool for bringing us even closer together. The three of them returned to the Galactic Council with the news. The council was excited but also cautious. They formed a special committee to study the implications of the wormhole technology and to develop a plan for its implementation. Jake, Dr. Carter, and Dr. Harris were all appointed to this committee. They knew that this new discovery could either bring the galaxy to new heights of prosperity and cooperation or cause unforeseen problems if not managed properly. As they delved into the work, they were filled with a sense of anticipation and responsibility. The future of the galaxy seemed full of possibilities, and they were determined to make sure that the new era of galactic cooperation continued to thrive. Over the next few months, the committee worked tirelessly. They studied the physics of wormholes, the potential impact on different civilizations, and the security risks involved. They also consulted with experts from across the galaxy, including some of the most renowned scientists and philosophers. As they neared the completion of their report, Jake couldn't help but think about how far they had come. From the initial discovery of strange animal behavior on Earth to being at the forefront of a decision that could shape the future of the galaxy, it had been an incredible journey. And he was ready to face whatever challenges or opportunities the wormhole technology and the future of the Galactic Defense Coalition might bring. Chapter 10: Navigating the Wormhole Frontier. The Special Committee on Wormhole Technology, with Jake, Dr. Carter, and Dr. Harris at its core, labored intensively to craft a comprehensive plan for the implementation and regulation of this revolutionary discovery. The fate of the galaxy seemed to hang in the balance as they considered every aspect of the potentially game-changing technology. Jake, as one of the committee's most vocal members, was acutely aware of the responsibility they carried. We need to ensure that this technology doesn't become a source of conflict, he said during one of the committee's meetings. We have to create a framework that promotes fair access and peaceful use. Dr. Carter nodded in agreement. Absolutely. And we also need to understand the long-term effects of wormhole travel on the fabric of space, time. There could be unforeseen consequences that we need to account for. Dr. Harris, who had been poring over the scientific data, added, the energy requirements for creating and maintaining stable wormholes are enormous. We need to figure out how to power them in an environmentally friendly and sustainable way. The committee's work was not without its challenges. Representatives from different civilizations had varying interests and concerns. Some were eager to start using the wormhole technology immediately to boost their economies through increased trade. Others were more cautious, worried about potential security threats and the disruption of their traditional ways of life. A representative from a highly spiritual civilization expressed his concerns. Our people believe that the natural order of the universe should not be tampered with. Wormholes could disrupt the balance that we've maintained for centuries. Jake addressed his concerns. We understand your reservations. But the goal of the Galactic Defense Coalition is to ensure that any new technology is used in a way that respects the values and beliefs of all civilizations. We can work together to find a solution that minimizes any negative impacts. Over time, through countless discussions, debates, and compromises, the committee began to formulate a set of guidelines. The first and foremost principle was that wormhole technology would be owned and regulated by the Galactic Defense Coalition as a whole. This would prevent any single civilization from monopolizing the technology. To ensure fair access, a system was proposed where civilizations could apply for permission to use the wormholes for specific purposes, such as trade, scientific research, or cultural exchange. The committee would review these applications based on a set of criteria, including the potential benefits to the galaxy as a whole and the applicant's compliance with the coalition's ethical and safety standards. In terms of security, a sophisticated monitoring system was designed. Wormholes would be equipped with sensors that could detect any unauthorized use or potential threats. The coalition's military forces would be on standby to respond to any security breaches. As for the energy problem, the committee proposed a collaborative research project. Scientists from all member civilizations would work together to find a way to power the wormholes using a combination of renewable energy sources, such as cosmic radiation conversion and advanced fusion technologies. Once the guidelines were finalized, they were presented to the Galactic Council. The council members listened intently as Jake, on behalf of the committee, explained the details. These guidelines are the result of months of hard work and collaboration, Jake said. We believe that they strike a balance between the opportunities presented by wormhole technology and the need to protect the interests of all civilizations. The council members debated the guidelines for several days. Some raised further questions and concerns, while others praised the committee's efforts. In the end, after some minor adjustments, the guidelines were approved. With the regulatory framework in place, the construction of the first experimental wormhole began. The location chosen was a remote region of space, far from any major civilizations, to minimize the risk of accidental damage. Jake, Dr. Carter, and Dr. Harris were present at the construction site. They watched as the massive, complex machinery was assembled. The scientists and engineers worked around the clock, using a combination of Earth-based and alien technologies. Dr. Harris was in his element, overseeing the technical aspects of the construction. "This is a momentous occasion," he said. "But we need to be extremely careful. One wrong move could have catastrophic consequences." As the construction progressed, the first signs of the wormhole began to form. A strange, swirling distortion in space, time appeared, gradually growing in size. The energy signatures in the area were off the charts, and the scientists had to constantly adjust the equipment to maintain stability. Finally, after weeks of intense work, the first stable wormhole was created. The swirling portal glowed with an otherworldly light, a gateway to a distant part of the galaxy. The committee had planned a series of test runs before allowing any civilian or commercial use. The first test was to send a small, unmanned probe through the wormhole. The probe was equipped with a variety of sensors to measure the conditions on the other side and to ensure that the journey through the wormhole was safe. Jake, Dr. Carter, and the rest of the team watched with bated breath as the probe was launched towards the wormhole. The probe disappeared into the swirling portal, and for a few tense moments, there was no sign of it. Then, a signal was received from the other side. The probe had made it through safely. Dr. Carter analyzed the data from the probe. The readings are amazing. The wormhole seems to be stable, and the conditions on the other side are within acceptable parameters. Encouraged by the success of the first test, the committee decided to conduct more tests, including sending larger unmanned vessels and eventually, a small team of volunteers through the wormhole. The volunteer team, consisting of a diverse group of individuals from different civilizations, prepared for their journey. Jake addressed them before they embarked. "You are about to make history," Jake said. "Your courage and willingness to take this risk will pave the way for a new era of intergalactic travel. But remember, safety is our top priority. Follow all the protocols, and we'll be monitoring your every move." The team boarded the spaceship and flew towards the wormhole. As they entered the portal, the ship was surrounded by a strange, swirling light. The crew felt a moment of disorientation, but then they emerged on the other side of the galaxy. The team reported back that the journey had been a success. They described the strange visual phenomena they had experienced inside the wormhole and the new star systems they had seen on the other side. With the successful completion of these tests, the Galactic Defense Coalition was on the verge of opening up a new chapter in intergalactic relations. The wormhole technology had the potential to bring the civilizations of the galaxy even closer together, but it also came with its own set of challenges. As the news of the successful wormhole tests spread throughout the galaxy, there was a flurry of excitement. Civilizations began to submit applications to use the wormholes for various purposes. The committee was inundated with requests for trade routes, scientific expeditions, and cultural exchanges. Jake, Dr. Carter, and Dr. Harris, along with the rest of the committee, worked hard to review these applications. They had to ensure that each one met the strict criteria set by the guidelines. One of the first approved applications was for a trade mission between two distant civilizations. A group of merchants from a planet rich in rare minerals wanted to establish a trade route with a civilization known for its advanced technology. The committee believed that this trade could benefit both civilizations and contribute to the overall economic growth of the galaxy. As the first trade ships prepared to pass through the wormhole, Jake and Dr. Carter visited the departure site. They watched as the ships, loaded with goods, approached the wormhole. "This is a new beginning," Dr. Carter said. "The wormholes could change the economic landscape of the galaxy. But we need to keep a close eye on things to make sure everything goes smoothly." Jake nodded. "Yes, and we also need to be prepared for any unforeseen issues. The galaxy is a vast and unpredictable place, and we don't know what challenges lie ahead." The trade ships entered the wormhole, and soon, they emerged on the other side. The trade mission was a success, and the two civilizations began to prosper from their new-found connection. However, not all was smooth sailing. As more and more civilizations started to use the wormholes, there were some minor disputes. Some civilizations felt that the application process was too strict, while others were concerned about the distribution of resources and benefits. Jake and the committee had to step in to resolve these disputes. They held meetings with the concerned civilizations, listening to their grievances and finding solutions that were fair to all. One such dispute involved a group of small, developing civilizations. They felt that the larger, more powerful civilizations were getting preferential treatment in the use of the wormholes. Jake organized a special summit to address these concerns. At the summit, Jake said, "The Galactic Defense Coalition is based on the principles of equality and mutual benefit. We need to make sure that all civilizations, regardless of their size or power, have an equal opportunity to benefit from the wormhole technology. We'll review the application process and make the necessary adjustments." After the summit, the committee made some changes to the application process. They introduced a system of quotas to ensure that a certain percentage of wormhole usage was reserved for developing civilizations. They also provided additional support and resources to help these civilizations prepare for and participate in intergalactic trade and cooperation. As time passed, the wormhole technology became an integral part of galactic life. New trade routes were established, scientific discoveries were made, and cultural exchanges flourished. Jake, Dr. Carter, and Dr. Harris continued to play important roles in the management and development of the wormhole network. They also kept an eye on the long-term effects of the wormholes. Dr. Harris led a team of scientists in conducting regular studies on the impact of wormhole usage on space-time. So far, the results were promising, but they knew that they had to remain vigilant. One day, while monitoring the wormhole network, Dr. Carter noticed something unusual. One of the wormholes was showing signs of instability. The swirling portal was fluctuating, and the energy signatures were becoming erratic. Jake and Dr. Harris were immediately alerted. They rushed to the control center to assess the situation. "This could be a serious problem," Dr. Harris said. "We need to figure out what's causing this instability before it leads to a catastrophic failure." The team of scientists and engineers worked around the clock to diagnose the problem. They analyzed the data from the sensors around the wormhole and compared it with previous stable readings. After hours of intense work, they discovered that a nearby star was going through a phase of increased solar activity. The intense radiation from the star was interfering with the wormhole's stability. Jake knew that they had to act quickly. "We need to find a way to shield the wormhole from the radiation. If we can't stabilize it, we might have to close it down until the star's activity subsides." Dr. Carter proposed a solution. "We could use a combination of energy, absorbing materials and gravitational lensing to deflect the radiation away from the wormhole." The team immediately set to work. They deployed a series of devices around the wormhole to implement Dr. Carter's plan. It was a race against time as the wormhole's instability was increasing rapidly. Finally, after several tense hours, the devices started to work. The radiation was deflected, and the wormhole began to stabilize. Jake, Dr. Carter, and Dr. Harris let out a sigh of relief. "This was a close call," Jake said. "We need to develop better early warning systems for situations like this. The wormhole network is too important to the galaxy to be put at risk." Dr. Harris nodded. "Agreed. We'll start working on it right away. We can't afford to be caught off guard like this again." As they continued to manage the wormhole network and address the various challenges that came with it, Jake, Dr. Carter, and Dr. Harris knew that the future of the galaxy was full of both opportunities and uncertainties. But they were confident that as long as the civilizations of the Galactic Defense Coalition worked together, they could overcome any obstacle and continue to build a brighter future for all. Chapter 11: The Galactic Confluence of Challenges and Dreams. The near catastrophe with the wormhole due to the nearby star's solar activity served as a wake-up call for the Galactic Defense Coalition. Jake, Dr. Carter, and Dr. Harris, at the heart of the Coalition's efforts, knew that they had to fortify their systems and strategies to safeguard the invaluable wormhole network. Dr. Harris immediately spearheaded the development of an enhanced early warning system. He assembled a team of the galaxy's top astrophysicists, engineers, and data analysts. "We need to create a comprehensive monitoring network that can detect any potential threats to the wormholes from light years away," he told the group. "This includes not only stellar events but also any unusual energy fluctuations or gravitational anomalies." The team got to work, integrating advanced sensor technologies from different civilizations. They developed algorithms that could analyze vast amounts of data in real time, flagging any signs of danger. Meanwhile, Dr. Carter focused on improving the wormhole's structural integrity. She led a research project to find new materials and energy stabilizing techniques. "Our current methods of maintaining wormhole stability are effective, but we need to be more resilient," Dr. Carter explained to her team of scientists. "We should explore the use of exotic matter and advanced force field technologies to better withstand external perturbations." Jake, on the other hand, was busy with the diplomatic aspect. He traveled to different member civilizations, emphasizing the importance of cooperation in safeguarding the wormhole network. "The wormholes are a shared resource," he told the leaders of various planets. "We must all contribute to their protection and ensure that they remain a force for good in the galaxy." As the Coalition worked on these improvements, new opportunities began to emerge from the increased intergalactic connectivity provided by the wormholes. A group of scientists from different civilizations proposed a grand collaborative project: the construction of a galactic observatory. "The galaxy is a vast and mysterious place," one of the scientists, a being from a planet known for its advanced astronomy, said. "With the wormholes, we can bring together the best telescopes and observational technologies from across the galaxy. This galactic observatory could help us answer some of the most fundamental questions about the universe. Jake, Dr. Carter, and Dr. Harris were enthusiastic about the idea. They presented it to the Galactic Council, highlighting the potential scientific, cultural, and diplomatic benefits. The Council approved the project, and a task force was formed to oversee its implementation. Jake was appointed as the head of the task force. He coordinated with different civilizations to allocate resources and plan the construction of the observatory. The chosen location was a strategic point in space, far from any significant sources of interference. As the construction of the Galactic Observatory began, another challenge presented itself. A previously unknown species emerged from the outer reaches of the galaxy. These beings, known as the Aurori, were highly advanced in energy manipulation technology but seemed to be isolationist. The Aurori had detected the presence of the wormholes and were concerned about the potential impact on their way of life. They sent a message to the Galactic Defense Coalition, expressing their unease and demanding that the coalition halt any further expansion of the wormhole network. Jake, as Earth's representative and a key figure in the coalition, was tasked with communicating with the Aurori. He led a diplomatic mission to their home planet, accompanied by Dr. Carter, who could engage with them on a scientific level, and a group of cultural experts. When they arrived at the Aurori's planet, they were met with a mix of curiosity and suspicion. The Aurori were a beautiful species, their bodies glowing with a soft, iridescent light. Jake stepped forward and greeted their leaders. "Honorable leaders of the Aurori," Jake said, "we understand your concerns. The Galactic Defense Coalition has always strived to act in the best interests of all civilizations in the galaxy. The wormhole technology is a tool for progress, not a threat." Dr. Carter then explained the scientific and cultural benefits of the wormholes. The wormholes allow us to share knowledge, resources, and ideas. This can lead to advancements in technology, medicine, and understanding of the universe that could benefit your civilization as well. The Aurori leaders listened intently but remained skeptical. One of them, a tall, imposing figure with a crown-like structure on its head, spoke. "Your words are persuasive, but we have seen how technology can be misused. How can we be sure that the wormholes will not be used to invade our space or disrupt our ecosystem?" Jake replied, "The Galactic Defense Coalition has a strict set of regulations and a powerful monitoring system in place. Any misuse of the wormhole technology is strictly prohibited. We are willing to work with you to address your concerns and find a way for you to be part of this new era of galactic cooperation." Over the next few days, Jake and his team engaged in intense negotiations with the Aurori. They showed them the details of the coalition's governance, the security measures around the wormholes, and the positive impact the technology had on other civilizations. Slowly, the Aurori began to see the potential benefits. They agreed to a trial period where they would observe the activities of the coalition and the use of the wormholes. In return, the coalition promised to keep them informed of any major developments and to consider their input in future decisions regarding the wormhole network. As Jake and his team returned to the coalition's main base, they were greeted with news of progress on the Galactic Observatory. The framework of the observatory was taking shape, and the first set of telescopes and sensors were being installed. Dr. Harris, who had been overseeing the scientific aspects of the project, was excited. This is going to be a game changer for astronomy in the galaxy. We'll be able to observe phenomena that were previously beyond our reach. However, not all was well on the home front. Some member civilizations were starting to feel the strain of contributing resources to multiple projects, the wormhole network improvements, the Galactic Observatory, and now the diplomatic efforts with the Aurori. A group of representatives from these civilizations approached Jake. "We understand the importance of these initiatives," one of them said. "But our planets are facing their own challenges, such as resource shortages and population growth. We need some relief." Jake empathized with their situation. He called a meeting of the Galactic Council to discuss the issue. "We need to find a way to balance the needs of all member civilizations," he told the Council. "The success of the coalition depends on the well-being of each and every one of us." The Council decided to establish a resource sharing and support program. Civilizations with surplus resources would be encouraged to assist those in need, and a more equitable distribution of the workload for coalition projects would be implemented. As the program was rolled out, the situation improved. The civilizations that were struggling started to receive the support they needed, and the progress on the wormhole network, the Galactic Observatory, and the diplomatic relations with the Aurori continued. The construction of the Galactic Observatory neared completion. The final touches were being made, and the first test observations were scheduled. Jake, Dr. Carter, and Dr. Harris were present for the occasion. The first light from distant stars and galaxies was captured by the observatory's powerful telescopes. The data streaming in was overwhelming in its scope and detail. Dr. Harris was ecstatic. "Look at this," he said, pointing at the data displays. "We're seeing things that have never been seen before. This is a new chapter in our understanding of the universe." Dr. Carter added, "And this is just the beginning. As we continue to refine the observatory's capabilities and share the data with the scientific communities of all civilizations, the knowledge we gain could transform the galaxy." Jake smiled, looking at the images and data. "This is what the Galactic Defense Coalition is all about, coming together to achieve things that no single civilization could do alone. But we still have a long way to go." As they celebrated the successful completion of the Galactic Observatory, they knew that more challenges awaited. The relationship with the Aurori was still in its infancy, and the wormhole network required constant vigilance. But they were confident that with the spirit of cooperation and the determination of the coalition, they could overcome any obstacle. The galaxy was changing, and Jake, Dr. Carter, and Dr. Harris were at the forefront of these changes. They were not only protecting the present but also shaping the future of the countless civilizations that called the galaxy home. And as they looked out into the vast expanse of space through the eyes of the Galactic Observatory, they were filled with a sense of wonder and a renewed commitment to their mission. In the days that followed, the data from the observatory was shared across the galaxy. Scientists from all civilizations were poring over the new discoveries, and new theories were being proposed. The cultural exchange that accompanied this scientific progress was also significant. Art, music, and literature from different civilizations were being shared and appreciated on a scale never seen before. However, with this increased connectivity and the influx of new ideas, there were also some cultural clashes. Some civilizations were more conservative and found it difficult to adapt to the rapid changes. Jake and the coalition's cultural experts had to step in to mediate and promote understanding. Jake organized a series of cultural exchange programs and seminars. "We need to respect the diversity of our civilizations," he told the participants. "The differences in our cultures are what make the galaxy a rich and vibrant place. By learning from each other, we can build stronger bonds and avoid conflicts." As these programs took effect, the cultural tensions began to ease. Civilizations started to appreciate the unique aspects of each other's cultures, and new forms of art and knowledge emerged from the cross-pollination of ideas. Meanwhile, the relationship with the Aurori was also evolving. The Aurori had been closely observing the coalition's activities, and they were impressed by the progress and the commitment to cooperation. They sent a message to the coalition, expressing their interest in a more formal alliance. Jake and the Galactic Council were delighted. They began the process of negotiating the terms of the alliance. This new development held great promise for the future of the galaxy, as the Aurori's advanced energy manipulation technology could bring new advancements to the coalition. As the negotiations progressed, Jake, Dr. Carter, and Dr. Harris reflected on their journey. From the initial discovery of the alien threat on Earth to the present day efforts to build a more united and prosperous galaxy, they had come a long way. And they were excited to see what the future held as they continued to navigate the ever-changing landscape of the galaxy, facing challenges head-on and embracing the opportunities for growth and cooperation. Chapter 12: Forging Ahead in the Galactic Alliance. The negotiations with the Aurori for a formal alliance were in full swing, a process filled with both hope and trepidation. Jake, representing the Galactic Defense Coalition, led the discussions alongside a team of diplomats, scientists, and cultural experts. Dr. Carter and Dr. Harris were also actively involved, contributing their unique insights and knowledge. The initial meetings with the Aurori were held on a neutral space station, a place designed to foster an environment of equality and open-mindedness. The Aurori delegation, their forms aglow with a soft, ever-changing light, entered the negotiation chamber with an air of cautious optimism. Jake opened the proceedings. "Esteemed representatives of the Aurori, we are honored to engage in these discussions. The Galactic Defense Coalition has always strived for a galaxy where all civilizations can thrive in peace and cooperation. We believe that an alliance between us could bring about great benefits for both our peoples. The lead Aurori representative, a wise-looking being with a long, flowing appendage that seemed to pulsate with energy, responded. We have been observing your coalition, and we see the potential for mutual growth. However, we have some concerns that need to be addressed before we can commit to an alliance. Dr. Carter leaned forward. Please, share your concerns. We are here to listen and find solutions that work for everyone. The Aurori representative nodded. Our first concern is regarding the use of our energy manipulation technology. We have developed this technology over eons, and it is central to our way of life. We need assurances that it will not be misused or exploited within the coalition. Dr. Harris, well versed in technological matters, replied. We understand your apprehensions. The Galactic Defense Coalition has a strict code of ethics and regulations regarding the use of technology. Any sharing of technology would be under a carefully monitored framework, with the consent and active participation of your civilization. We would work together to ensure that the technology is used for the betterment of all, such as in energy production, medical applications, and environmental restoration. The Aurori representatives seemed to consider this. Another of them spoke up. What about cultural integration? Our civilization has a deep-seated set of beliefs and values. We are concerned that an alliance might lead to the erosion of our cultural identity. One of the cultural experts on Jake's team responded. The Galactic Defense Coalition celebrates cultural diversity. In fact, we have numerous initiatives in place to preserve and promote the unique cultures of all member civilizations. We would work with you to ensure that your cultural heritage is not only respected but also shared and celebrated across the galaxy. As the days of negotiation passed, the two sides delved deeper into the details. They discussed issues such as resource sharing, joint research projects, and the role of the Aurori within the coalition's existing structures. Jake proposed a system of joint governance for any projects that involved the Aurori's unique technology. This way, both our civilizations will have an equal say in how the technology is developed and utilized, he explained. The Aurori representatives were initially hesitant about integrating into the existing coalition structures. Your coalition has its own established ways of doing things, one of them said. We are worried that our voice might get lost. In response, Jake suggested the creation of a special council within the coalition, dedicated to issues related to the Aurori. This council would be composed of representatives from your civilization and the coalition, ensuring that your concerns are always heard and addressed, he said. After intense deliberations and several compromises, the two sides finally reached an agreement. The terms of the alliance were drawn up, outlining the rights and responsibilities of both the Galactic Defense Coalition and the Aurori. The news of the alliance spread throughout the galaxy, met with great enthusiasm by most member civilizations. There were celebrations on many planets, with hopes for new scientific breakthroughs, increased cultural exchange, and enhanced security. Jake, Dr. Carter, and Dr. Harris returned to their respective positions within the coalition, ready to implement the new alliance. Dr. Carter immediately began planning joint research projects with the Aurori scientists. Imagine what we could achieve by combining our knowledge of energy and other scientific fields, she said to her team. Dr. Harris was focused on the technological integration. We need to start the process of adapting our existing systems to work with the Aurori's energy manipulation technology. It's going to be a complex but rewarding task. Jake, on the other hand, was busy with the diplomatic and administrative aspects. He had to ensure that all member civilizations were informed about the changes brought about by the Alliance and that the new Council for the Aurori was established smoothly. As the first joint research project between the Coalition and the Aurori got underway, they focused on developing a new, more efficient energy storage device. The project brought together scientists from different civilizations, each bringing their unique perspectives and expertise. However, the project was not without its challenges. The fundamental differences in the scientific approaches of the Aurori and the other civilizations led to some initial misunderstandings. The Aurori, for example, relied heavily on a form of intuitive, energy-based sensing in their research, while the other civilizations were more accustomed to traditional experimental methods. Dr. Carter, acting as a mediator, organized a series of workshops to bridge this gap. We need to understand and respect each other's ways of doing science, she told the scientists. By combining our methods, we can achieve results that are far greater than what we could achieve alone. Slowly, the scientists began to find common ground. They started to adapt their research techniques, incorporating elements of both the Aurori's intuitive sensing and the more traditional experimental methods. As the research progressed, they made some promising discoveries. They were able to develop a prototype of an energy storage device that could hold a charge for an unprecedented amount of time and was much more efficient in its energy conversion process. The success of this initial joint project was a cause for celebration. It not only demonstrated the potential of the Alliance but also served as a model for future collaborations. Meanwhile, on the cultural front, the Coalition launched a series of programs to promote the Aurori's culture across the galaxy. Art exhibitions featuring Aurori-inspired art, music concerts with a blend of Aurori and other civilizations' musical styles, and educational programs about the Aurori's history and beliefs were organized. These programs were met with great interest by the members of the Coalition. People from different planets were eager to learn about the newcomer civilization, and the Aurori were pleased to see their culture being appreciated and respected. However, not all civilizations were entirely on board with the changes brought about by the Alliance. A small group of civilizations, who had been more isolationist in nature, expressed their concerns. They were worried that the influx of new technology and culture from the Aurori would disrupt their traditional ways of life. Jake met with representatives from these civilizations. "We understand your concerns," he said. "But the goal of the Alliance is not to force change upon anyone. You have the option to participate in the joint projects and cultural exchanges at your own pace. The Coalition is here to support you, whether you choose to fully embrace the changes or maintain a more traditional approach." The representatives seemed to be reassured by Jake's words. They agreed to keep an open mind and observe how the Alliance developed in the coming months. As time passed, the alliance between the Galactic Defense Coalition and the Aurori continued to strengthen. More joint research projects were launched, covering a wide range of fields from medicine to space exploration. The cultural exchange also deepened, with the creation of new forms of art and literature that blended the diverse elements of the different civilizations. One of the most ambitious projects was a joint space exploration mission. The Coalition and the Aurori planned to send a fleet of ships to a distant, uncharted region of the galaxy. The mission aimed to study the unique astrophysical phenomena in the area, as well as search for new resources and potentially habitable planets. Jake, Dr. Carter, and Dr. Harris were all involved in the planning of the mission. Jake was in charge of coordinating the diplomatic aspects, ensuring that all member civilizations were on board and contributing to the mission. Dr. Carter was leading the scientific team, designing the experiments and instruments that would be used during the mission. Dr. Harris was responsible for the technological aspects, making sure that the ships were equipped with the latest and most advanced technology, including the Aurori-inspired energy systems. The preparation for the mission was a massive undertaking. Ships from different civilizations were modified and outfitted with the necessary equipment. The crews, a diverse group of individuals from across the galaxy, underwent rigorous training. As the launch date of the mission approached, there was a sense of excitement and anticipation throughout the galaxy. The mission represented a new frontier in intergalactic cooperation, a chance to explore the unknown together and expand the collective knowledge of the civilizations in the Coalition. On the day of the launch, Jake, Dr. Carter, and Dr. Harris were present at the main spaceport. They watched as the fleet of ships, a magnificent sight with their different shapes and sizes, lifted off and disappeared into the vast expanse of space. Jake looked at his colleagues. "This is just the beginning. The discoveries we make on this mission could change the course of the galaxy." Dr. Carter nodded. "Yes, and it's all thanks to the cooperation and unity that we've built within the Coalition and now with the Aurori." Dr. Harris smiled. "Let's hope for a successful mission. The galaxy is full of mysteries, and I can't wait to see what we find." As the fleet of ships journeyed towards the uncharted region of the galaxy, Jake, Dr. Carter, and Dr. Harris continued their work within the Coalition. They knew that there would be more challenges and opportunities ahead, but they were confident in the strength of the Alliance and the capabilities of the Galactic Defense Coalition. The future of the galaxy seemed filled with endless possibilities, and they were determined to be at the forefront of shaping it for the better. Back on Earth, the news of the space exploration mission was met with great pride. The people of Earth, who had come a long way from the initial discovery of the alien threat, were now an integral part of the galaxy-wide efforts to explore and understand the universe. The schools on Earth used the mission as an educational opportunity, inspiring a new generation of young people to pursue careers in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The children dreamed of one day being part of similar intergalactic adventures, contributing to the ever-expanding knowledge of the galaxy. As the days turned into weeks, the fleet of ships sent back regular updates. The initial readings from the journey were promising. The sensors detected unique energy signatures and strange celestial objects that had never been observed before. Dr. Carter and her team of scientists were analyzing the data with great enthusiasm. These findings could rewrite our understanding of astrophysics, she said. We're on the verge of some truly remarkable discoveries. However, the mission also faced some technical difficulties. One of the ships, a vessel from a smaller civilization, experienced a malfunction in its energy propulsion system. Dr. Harris immediately coordinated with the Aurori and other coalition scientists to find a solution. They worked together to develop a remote repair mechanism using a combination of the Aurori's energy manipulation technology and the coalition's existing engineering knowledge. The repair was successful, and the ship was back on course, continuing its journey towards the uncharted region. This incident further highlighted the importance of the alliance and the power of cooperation. The civilizations within the coalition, including the Aurori, were able to come together and solve a complex problem, ensuring the success of the mission. As the fleet approached the uncharted region, the excitement grew. The scientists on board prepared their instruments for the detailed study of the area. Jake, back at the coalition's headquarters, was following the mission's progress closely, ready to support in any way possible. The future of the galaxy seemed full of hope and discovery, and Jake, Dr. Carter, and Dr. Harris were at the heart of this new era of intergalactic cooperation. They were not only witnessing history but also actively shaping it, one step at a time. Chapter 13: Uncharted Realms and Galactic Revelations. The fleet of ships from the Galactic Defense Coalition and the Aurori drew closer to the uncharted region of the galaxy, a region swathed in mystery and anticipation. The data streaming in from the preliminary scans had already piqued the curiosity of scientists across the coalition, and as the ships breached the outer boundaries of this unknown expanse, the excitement was palpable. Dr. Carter, coordinating the scientific efforts from the coalition's main base, was in constant communication with the scientists on board the ships. "We're entering uncharted territory, both literally and figuratively," she said over the inter-galactic communication channels. "Every piece of data we collect from here on out could be a game changer." The first order of business for the fleet was to establish a stable observation post. The ships maneuvered into a strategic formation, creating a network of sensors and communication arrays. Dr. Harris, who had been overseeing the technological setup, ensured that the equipment was functioning at optimal capacity. "We can't afford any technical glitches now," he warned the technicians on board the various vessels. The data we're about to collect is too precious. As the observation post was being set up, the sensors detected a strange, pulsating energy source deep within the region. The energy signatures were like nothing they had ever encountered before, and the scientists were immediately intrigued. Aurori scientist, Lumen, who was part of the mission, spoke up. This energy could be the key to unlocking a whole new understanding of the universe. But we need to approach it with caution. We have no idea what its properties are or what it might be connected to. Dr. Carter nodded in agreement, her holographic projection visible to the team on the ships. We'll send out a small exploration team to investigate the source. Equip them with the most advanced sensors and protective gear. We need to know exactly what we're dealing with. The exploration team, consisting of a diverse group of scientists and engineers from different civilizations, boarded a specialized shuttlecraft. As they approached the energy source, the readings on their sensors became even more erratic. The shuttlecraft's systems were being affected by the powerful energy emissions, but the team pressed on. Jake, monitoring the mission from the coalition's headquarters, felt a sense of unease. "Keep me updated on every development," he told Dr. Carter. "This could be a major discovery, but we can't let our guard down." The exploration team finally reached the vicinity of the energy source. What they saw was a large, glowing orb, suspended in space. The orb was surrounded by a swirling mass of energy, creating a mesmerizing display. One of the scientists, a human named Dr. Emily Chen, began to analyze the data. "This is incredible. The energy seems to be a combination of multiple known and unknown energy types. It's as if it's a nexus point for different forces in the universe." Just as they were about to start a more in-depth study, the orb suddenly emitted a powerful burst of energy. The shuttlecraft was buffeted by the shockwave, and its systems started to malfunction. "Evasive maneuvers!" shouted the shuttlecraft's pilot, a reptilian, like being named Krax. The shuttlecraft managed to avoid the worst of the energy burst, but it was clear that they were in a dangerous situation. Back at the observation post, Dr. Carter and the rest of the team were alarmed. "Get them out of there immediately," she ordered. But the shuttlecraft was having trouble establishing a stable communication link due to the interference from the energy source. Dr. Harris quickly worked on a solution. "I'm trying to boost the signal. We need to get them back safely." After a tense few minutes, the communication link was restored, and the shuttlecraft made its way back to the observation post. The team on board was shaken but relieved to be back. Dr. Chen reported their findings. "The energy source is extremely unstable. We need to find a way to study it without getting too close. Maybe we can use remote-controlled probes." Dr. Carter agreed. "That's a good idea. But we need to design probes that can withstand the intense energy emissions. Dr. Harris, can you lead the effort to develop these probes?" Dr. Harris nodded. "I'll get my team on it right away. We'll use a combination of the Aurore's energy, resistant materials and our own advanced sensor technology. While Dr. Harris and his team worked on the probes, the rest of the scientific team continued to analyze the data collected so far. They noticed a pattern in the energy emissions from the orb. It seemed to be pulsating in a rhythmic pattern, as if it was communicating or reacting to something. Aurore scientist Lumen proposed a theory. What if this energy source is some kind of natural beacon? It could be a signal from an ancient civilization or a warning of some sort. The idea sparked a lively debate among the scientists. Some were skeptical, while others thought it was a plausible theory. Jake, who had been following the discussions, joined in. We need to consider all possibilities. This could be a major discovery, not just for our scientific knowledge but also for our understanding of the galaxy's history. Over the next few days, Dr. Harris and his team worked tirelessly on developing the remote-controlled probes. They designed probes that were encased in a special alloy, capable of withstanding the intense energy fields around the orb. The probes were equipped with a suite of advanced sensors, including those that could detect subtle changes in energy frequencies and gravitational fields. Once the probes were ready, they were launched towards the energy source. The scientists watched intently as the probes approached the orb. The data started to stream in, providing a wealth of new information. The probes detected a complex network of energy channels around the orb. It was as if the orb was the center of a vast energy grid that extended far beyond what they could initially observe. Dr. Carter analyzed the data and was astounded. This is amazing. The energy grid seems to be connected to other regions of the galaxy. It could be a fundamental part of the galaxy's underlying energy infrastructure. The discovery led to a new line of research. The scientists began to study how the energy grid functioned and what its purpose might be. They hypothesized that it could be a natural mechanism for distributing energy across the galaxy or a leftover relic from a long-gone civilization's technological endeavors. As they delved deeper into the study of the energy grid, the fleet continued to explore the uncharted region. Other strange phenomena were discovered, such as a cluster of planets with unique atmospheric compositions and a series of gravitational anomalies. One of the gravitational anomalies was particularly interesting. It seemed to be causing a distortion in space-time, creating a region where the laws of physics as they knew them were slightly different. A team of theoretical physicists from different civilizations was assembled to study this anomaly. Dr. Rajesh, a renowned physicist from a planet known for its advanced theoretical research, said, "This could be the key to understanding some of the fundamental mysteries of the universe." The distortion in space-time could provide insights into the nature of gravity and the relationship between different dimensions. The study of the gravitational anomaly was not without its challenges. The extreme conditions in the area made it difficult to collect accurate data. The scientists had to develop new methods and instruments to measure the subtle changes in space-time. Back at the Coalition's headquarters, Jake was busy communicating the latest discoveries to the Galactic Council. These findings have far-reaching implications, he told the council members. We need to allocate more resources to this mission and ensure that the scientific teams have all the support they need. The council agreed, and additional resources were provided. More ships were sent to the uncharted region to assist with the research, and experts from various fields were called in to contribute to the ongoing studies. As the research on the energy grid and the gravitational anomaly continued, the cultural exchange among the scientists on the mission also deepened. The different civilizations shared their unique perspectives and knowledge, leading to new insights and collaborations. Eerie scientists, for example, shared their intuitive understanding of energy, which complemented the more analytical approach of the other civilizations. This cross-pollination of ideas led to the development of new theories and models. However, not all was smooth sailing. There were some disagreements among the scientists about the interpretation of the data. Some believed that the energy grid was a natural phenomenon, while others were convinced that it was the work of an intelligent civilization. Dr. Carter called a meeting of all the scientists involved to resolve these differences. We need to approach this with an open mind, she said. Both theories have their merits, and instead of arguing, we should focus on finding evidence to support or refute them. The meeting led to a more collaborative approach. The scientists agreed to conduct a series of experiments and observations to test both theories. They also decided to share their data more openly, allowing for a more comprehensive analysis. As the experiments got underway, the fleet continued to explore the uncharted region. The hope was that through their combined efforts, they would be able to unlock the secrets of the energy grid, the gravitational anomaly, and the many other mysteries of this uncharted part of the galaxy. Jake, Dr. Carter, and Dr. Harris were at the center of this scientific endeavor, leading the charge to expand the galaxy's collective knowledge and understanding. The days turned into weeks, and the research was starting to bear fruit. The experiments on the energy grid had revealed some fascinating insights. The energy seemed to be regulated by a complex system of natural resonators, which could potentially be harnessed for energy production on a galactic scale. Dr. Harris was excited about the implications. If we can figure out how to tap into this energy source in a controlled manner, it could solve the energy problems of countless civilizations in the galaxy. The study of the gravitational anomaly also made progress. The physicists were able to develop a new model that explained the distortion in space-time. This model could potentially lead to advancements in space travel technology, allowing for faster and more efficient intergalactic journeys. As the mission entered its next phase, Jake, Dr. Carter, and Dr. Harris reflected on the journey so far. They had come a long way from the initial discovery of the alien threat on Earth to being at the forefront of a major scientific exploration in an uncharted region of the galaxy. Jake looked at his colleagues. This is what the Galactic Defense Coalition is all about. By working together, we can achieve things that were once thought impossible. But we still have a long way to go, and who knows what other secrets this galaxy has in store for us. Dr. Carter nodded. Yes, and we need to keep an open mind and continue to collaborate. The discoveries we've made so far are just the tip of the iceberg. Dr. Harris smiled. I can't wait to see what else we'll find. The future of the galaxy looks very promising, and we're lucky to be a part of this journey. As they looked forward to the next set of discoveries, the fleet in the uncharted region continued its work. The scientists were determined to unlock the remaining secrets of this mysterious part of the galaxy, and with the support of the Galactic Defense Coalition, they were confident that they could achieve their goals. The galaxy was full of wonders, and they were on a quest to uncover them all. Epilogue: The Galactic Odyssey concludes. The scientific endeavors in the uncharted region of the galaxy had reached a crescendo of discovery. Jake, Dr. Carter, and Dr. Harris, along with the entire Galactic Defense Coalition, were on the cusp of a new era of understanding. The research on the energy grid and the gravitational anomaly had opened up possibilities that were beyond the wildest dreams of the civilizations in the coalition. The experiments on the energy grid had led to a breakthrough. A team of engineers, combining the knowledge of different civilizations, had developed a prototype device to harness the energy from the grid. The device, a complex arrangement of advanced materials and energy conversion technologies, was capable of stabilizing and channeling the energy into a usable form. Dr. Harris was ecstatic as he oversaw the final testing of the prototype. This is it. If this works as planned, we'll have an almost limitless source of clean energy for the galaxy. The implications are staggering. No longer will civilizations have to rely on finite resources or environmentally damaging energy sources. The tests were successful. The prototype was able to draw a steady stream of energy from the grid without causing any disruptions. The news spread throughout the coalition, and celebrations erupted on countless planets. The promise of a new, sustainable energy future was within reach. Meanwhile, the study of the gravitational anomaly had also yielded remarkable results. The theoretical physicists, through their combined efforts, had developed a new concept in space travel. They proposed a method of using the distorted space-time around the anomaly to create a gravity-assisted propulsion system. Dr. Rajesh, the lead physicist on the project, explained, by carefully manipulating the gravitational forces in this region, we can potentially reduce the travel time between distant parts of the galaxy by a significant margin. This could revolutionize intergalactic trade, cultural exchange, and scientific cooperation. The Galactic Council, informed of these groundbreaking discoveries, immediately decided to allocate resources for the development of these new technologies on a larger scale. Jake was tasked with coordinating the efforts across the coalition. These are not just scientific achievements, Jake told the representatives of the member civilizations. These are the building blocks for a new galactic society. We need to ensure that the benefits of these technologies are shared equitably among all civilizations, big or small. As the development of the energy, harnessing and space, travel technologies progressed, the cultural exchange among the civilizations of the coalition reached new heights. The shared experience of the scientific exploration in the uncharted region had created a deeper sense of unity. Art, music, and literature that incorporated elements from different civilizations flourished. A new form of art, called galactic fusion, emerged. It combined the visual styles of the Aurori, the musical rhythms of some aquatic-based civilizations, and the storytelling traditions of Earth, among others. This art form became a symbol of the unity and diversity within the coalition. The relationship between the Galactic Defense Coalition and the Aurori had also grown stronger. The joint research projects and the shared scientific discoveries had led to a greater mutual understanding. The Aurori, once isolationist, were now fully integrated into the coalition, contributing their unique knowledge and technology to the collective progress. However, with great progress came new responsibilities. The coalition had to ensure that the new technologies were used responsibly. A regulatory body was established, consisting of representatives from all member civilizations, to oversee the development, distribution, and use of the energy, harnessing and space travel technologies. Dr. Carter was appointed as one of the key members of this regulatory body. "We need to set strict guidelines," she said. "The energy harnessing technology has the potential to change the galaxy, but we must prevent it from being misused." Similarly, the new space travel technology could open up new frontiers, but we need to ensure that it doesn't lead to conflicts over resources or territory. The regulatory body started its work by drafting a comprehensive set of rules. For the energy harnessing technology, they defined the standards for energy production, distribution, and conservation. They also established protocols for sharing the technology with developing civilizations, ensuring that everyone had access to the new energy source. For the space travel technology, they set up guidelines for exploration, colonization, and interplanetary relations. The goal was to promote peaceful and sustainable expansion across the galaxy. As the years passed, the new technologies became an integral part of galactic life. The energy harnessing devices were installed on planets across the coalition, providing clean and abundant energy. The new space travel methods allowed for faster and more efficient journeys, enabling civilizations to explore new regions of the galaxy, establish trade routes, and engage in cultural exchanges. Jake, now a respected elder statesman within the coalition, looked back on the journey that had started with a simple discovery on Earth. "It's incredible to think about how far we've come. From the first signs of an alien threat to building a new galactic society based on cooperation and shared progress." Dr. Carter, who had dedicated her life to scientific research and the betterment of the coalition, added, "The challenges we faced along the way were numerous, but they also brought us together. The unity of the Galactic Defense Coalition is what made all of this possible." Dr. Harris, whose technological expertise had been crucial in many of the coalition's achievements, nodded. "And we're not done yet. There are still countless mysteries in the galaxy waiting to be uncovered. The future holds even more possibilities for us. The galaxy, once a place filled with the potential for conflict and isolation, had transformed into a vibrant community of civilizations working towards a common goal. The Galactic Defense Coalition had not only protected the galaxy from threats but had also created an environment where knowledge, culture, and technology could thrive. On Earth, the story of the Coalition's journey had become a part of the planet's cultural heritage. Schools taught children about the importance of cooperation, scientific exploration, and the value of diversity. The young people of Earth dreamed of contributing to the ongoing progress of the galaxy, following in the footsteps of Jake, Dr. Carter, and Dr. Harris. The Coalition continued to explore the galaxy, with new missions being launched regularly. The uncharted region that had been the site of the initial discoveries was now a hub of scientific research. More energy grids and gravitational anomalies were being studied, leading to further technological advancements. One such new discovery was a network of ancient ruins found on a distant planet. The ruins were believed to be the remnants of an advanced civilization that had existed long before the current civilizations in the galaxy. The Coalition sent a team of archaeologists, historians, and scientists to study the ruins. The team, led by a renowned archaeologist named Dr. Nia from a planet known for its rich historical research, was excited about the potential insights the ruins could provide. This could be a game changer for our understanding of galactic history. We might finally learn about the origins of some of the technologies and cultural practices that are common among our civilizations today. As the team began their excavation and study of the ruins, they found a series of inscriptions in a language that had never been seen before. Dr. Carter, with her expertise in deciphering alien languages, was called in to assist. After months of painstaking work, Dr. Carter and the team were able to decipher some of the inscriptions. The inscriptions told the story of a great civilization that had once spanned the galaxy. This civilization had been highly advanced in science, technology, and culture, but had been destroyed by a catastrophic event. The discovery of the ancient civilization's story led to a new wave of research. Scientists began to study the ruins more intensively, looking for clues about the catastrophic event and the technologies the ancient civilization had developed. The hope was that by understanding the past, the Coalition could better prepare for the future. The Galactic Defense Coalition, with its spirit of cooperation and exploration, was ready to face whatever challenges and opportunities the galaxy presented. Jake, Dr. Carter, and Dr. Harris had become symbols of the Coalition's values, inspiring generations to come. The galaxy was a vast and ever-changing place, filled with countless stars, planets, and civilizations. And as the Coalition continued to explore, learn, and grow, the future looked brighter than ever. The journey that had started with a small group of humans and alien rebels facing an unknown threat had evolved into a galactic odyssey of discovery, cooperation, and progress. And it was a journey that would continue for generations, as the civilizations of the galaxy strived to unlock the secrets of the universe and build a better future for all.